How are you?
I'm going to ask you the Sky Sports News generic question of the day. Doesn't directly affect you. Have you got a view on how many points you think it will take to survive in the Premier League this season? Oh, no, don't laugh, please.
A view? Well, historically it's anything between 35 and 40, usually. It's difficult to picture, really. I think last year I thought it'd probably take less than it actually did in the end. So it's not an exact science. It's stats over a period of seasons will give you a trend and give you a ballpark figure, but it's difficult to say. I mean, all the teams at the bottom three have started to pick up points. The ones just above have, so difficult to say, really.
Thank you. That was a good, sensible answer. Yeah. Thank you for that. Philip Walscheid. Walscheid?
Volscheid. I would suggest.
Thank you. On loan with a view to a permanent. Where do you see him? Do you see him going straight into the side? Do you see he's ready to compete straight away, or you've got a number of centre-back options now?
Yeah, well, we pursued it because there was an opportunity to do it. Obviously, sometimes when you get wind of deals you feel are a good opportunity, then sometimes you have to take them. Maybe timing isn't what we anticipated, but sometimes there's deals that if you don't do them now, you lose the opportunity, and that was the case. If we'd have waited till the summer, the opportunity to bring Philip in wouldn't have been there for us. So we had to move quickly, and we're pleased we have done. He's come in. He's in good shape. Only had a couple of weeks off, and that time he obviously was aware of our interests, so he's kept himself up to speed. Last game he played was the last game before they went to break against Bayern Munich. So he's up to speed in my view. In terms of having seen him in training this week, he's only had 2 sessions obviously, but so he looks in good shape. So he's an option, that's all I'll say. I mean, it's a big decision to throw him in at the deep end against a team of the quality of Arsenal, but certainly he's an option for me.
With the options you've got at centre-back, does that mean you might be prepared to let one leave? I'm thinking potentially Robert Hughes as well.
Well, we might look at a number of things, but we have to be careful we don't allow ourselves to be a little bit thin on the ground in terms of bodies. At the moment we're not too bad, but over Christmas we were really stretched, and I don't want to be in a situation where we're losing key players in similar positions, and that's obviously you can't cover for every eventuality. If you have 2-3 injuries in the same position in the team, then you probably haven't got the depth to cover that. At the moment, Mark Muniesa has trained. Well, he trained today for the first time this week, so he's had problems with his groins. Mark Wilson has an issue with his knee that we're managing okay, but we've got to be mindful of that. So we have to be careful if we feel it makes sense for guys to go out, maybe get a few games, maybe Robert Hughes comes under that bracket. Within that bracket, then we'll have a look at it. But it's important that we remain strong rather than saying people go out because we think we've got strength in numbers. That can change very quickly, as we know.
There was a few raised eyebrows when your assistant said that you're in for Shaqiri in the week, and I don't mean any disrespect by that, but there were some huge clubs that have been chasing him. He's now gone to Inter Milan on loan. Does that give an idea of the ambition of you and this football club of what you're looking for in the transfer market? Is that the sort of standard you're talking about?
We'll continue to look at the market and see what's available, and if we see good players that we can realistically get close to, which was certainly the case with the player you're mentioning, then we'll try and pursue it. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. There's plenty of targets in the window that you hope to get over the line, but you know that the reality is that you're highly unlikely to get every single one of them. So he was one that's slipped by the wayside, but certainly we were very much in the frame. I think if you read what his agent, his brother said, they were very impressed with what we had to say and the offer that we, and what we can offer, what we put to it. So it wasn't dismissed. I think maybe that's what we take from it, is that we can get in the room with these people now with top quality players and they'll listen to what we say. Maybe that hasn't been the case in the past.
Obviously, Mamadou's gone off to the African Cup of Nations. Does that mean you'd like to get a striker in quickly to help with the cover for that, or were you looking for a striker anyway?
It's one of those. We'll look at what's out there, and yeah, it's fair to say we understood that Man wasn't going to be available, but if there's something that makes sense to us, we'll pursue it. But obviously, he's going to be away for minimum 3 weeks, I would think. They may get knocked out and we get him back sooner, so it's to go into the market and get somebody just for cover for three weeks maybe, it's maybe not something we'd look at. But if there's something that came on the radar that obviously long term we felt was something that could enhance the group, then we'll do it.
Cracking form you're in. 7 points from 9 in the Premier League. I know you think that probably should have been 9 out of 9 with the Manchester United game. But 1 defeat and 7 in all competitions as well. It's starting to click. Do you think there's a big second half of the season for Stoke City now?
I think we've just come through a really tough period. One that at the beginning of the season I think we were all a little bit concerned about, because we looked at the fixtures and we were facing, obviously we've got Arsenal at the weekend, but we were facing Arsenal twice, Man United twice, Chelsea, Everton away, and Tottenham as well. So big games in close succession, one after another. When we looked at that period, and I thought, goodness me, we need to get through that period of games in decent shape, and thankfully that's where we find ourselves. And it's been a huge effort. We have lost players to injury, and we've had to cope with that. But we're in good shape. We're into the second half of the season now. We've got players coming back as well. So we're really happy where we are at the moment.
And finally, sorry I'm going on a bit, but Arsenal, there's been so much history, so much bad blood that predates you with this fixture. Do you expect it to be hostile when you go to the Emirates, and can you explain that hostility?
We have to discuss this every time we go up against Arsenal. We're certainly sick of it. I think Arsenal undoubtedly are. So I mean, I think everybody should move on. We enjoyed our performance against Arsenal last time out. We played really well. In terms of our performance, the football we played was exceptional, and it wasn't a case that we intimidated Arsenal or bullied them out of it. If you were actually at the game, you would have seen that we actually played them off the park, certainly in the opening 60, 70 minutes or so. So we're a different side. We look to play in a different way. We can compete. That will always be in our making. But I think everybody's moved on, and maybe you guys should as well.
Thank you, Mark.
Are there any possible advantages to facing Arsenal so soon? I mean, that was a very good morale-boosting win. Do you think that will have any bearing at all on what happens down at the Emirates?
Well, we hope it will. But if you look at our record at the Emirates, it isn't great in recent times, and I include my own personal record with teams that have gone there even before Stoke. So for whatever reason, our record here at the Britannia is excellent, but the Emirates, it's chalk and cheese. So it's an opportunity. Obviously, it's, as you say, it's close succession. We're playing them very quickly after a really positive performance and results. So hopefully, psychologically, that might help us more than possibly it does Arsenal. So we hope that's a benefit. But we need to improve our record. Certainly at the Emirates, we need to force them to have to work a little bit harder than they have done in the past. And maybe with the benefit of having a really good performance against them in recent weeks, and that will help us. Let's hope so.
One of the advantages, I guess, of playing Arsenal is the fact that they can be quite familiar, aren't they, in terms of the way they play, or will they play in a different style?
No, I think Arsenal is very consistent in terms of the way he sets his teams up. He'll change personnel, and on occasions away from home he's gone with 2 sitting midfielders. At home invariably he goes with just the one, and he has more attacking players in home games. So apart from that, the actual fundamentals of what he tries to do remain constant. but he's got great talent to come in, and by all accounts his injury list is easing somewhat, so he's getting a few players back as well. So they'll be very strong, and it'll be a difficult game for us. We've
spoken about the tremendous period over Christmas, 11 points I think. Is one of the reasons the integration of some of your newer overseas players? I'm thinking of your Bojans, Buniers, as the other players that have come in now and have really gelled into what you had here already.
Yeah, I've been here, it's getting on for 18 months now, and I wouldn't have done my job if I had some impact in terms of their understanding of what I want from them. So yeah, we've certainly seen the benefit of the work that's been put in. I think a lot of the guys have really stepped up when we came under pressure with injuries, and I think that's really shown the character of the group and the type of players that I have now. And we've got a little bit more creativity. I think that's acknowledged by most people now. That's helped us, certainly away from home. I think having looked at our home record and our away record out of the league, I think there was something like the 4th position out of 20 teams with our away form. So that's a positive, because last year that was something that we weren't pleased with, and we've markedly improved our away form. So once we get the home form aligned to it, then we'll be fine.
What's the highest you can go, do you think, or is that putting too much pressure in?
Difficult to say. I mean, we had a great finish to the season last year, got to 9th, and if we can manage that again, then we'll be delighted. A lot of teams obviously had good starts, and they need to maintain it. We always feel we'll keep on progressing and picking up points right through the season. Some teams burn brightly at the beginning and then fade. My teams historically don't do that, so we fully anticipate we'll have a good second half to the season, as good or if not better than the first half. So if that's the case, we'll have a good season.
Good, thank you very much.
Mark, you fielded a very strong side against Wrexham. What did you learn from that experience, from that selection?
Wrexham a good team.
Yeah. What about Robert Huth and Stephen Ireland?
Well, it's important to give them game time. That's what they've been lacking, and I was pleased that obviously Robert had the first 90 minutes for quite some time. So that was a positive. Stephen, who's been really unlucky, I think I mentioned last time, he's arguably at the beginning of the season he was our best performer in pre-season, went out of the team through injury and found it difficult to get back in. When he did get back in, he got injured again. So for him to come back in, just have a little cameo at the end of the game, but in fairness took the game away from Wrexham. So real positive in terms of both of the guys. So we're pleased. He's another one that's coming back. Stephen said well as well. Got the 60 minutes that I wanted to put into him. So it's important now that we start getting players back. We've got Victor Moses obviously back in the group as well. So we're looking a little bit stronger than we were certainly going into the Christmas period.
How soon will Victor Moses be ready?
He looks okay. He looks sharp. Whether or not he's ready to start, that's something that I need to mull over. I need to see him tomorrow again, see how he shapes up. But he's come back really well, and credit to Chelsea in terms of the rehab they've given him. He's bang on track. So we'll be careful. Obviously, we're mindful that prior to his injury, arguably he was our best performer. Thankfully, when we did lose him, Bojan came in and took up the mantle and really performed as well. So the loss of Victor in terms of our creativity was lessened to a certain degree. So we're mindful of both of them, that they are coming back from injuries. Bojan as well is still one we've got to be careful of, because he's still coming back. We'll have to see if he's ready for the weekend, but for the most part we're really pleased with where we are in terms of the healthy state of the group.
You mentioned Mark Miniesa, he's not going to be. He might not be ready for Sunday. Is anybody else?
He's trained today. He needs to come through. As long as he hasn't got a reaction, then he's an option for me. But he had an issue with his groin, so had a slight tear in it. So it settled down. Like I said, he trained okay today. We just have to make sure that he doesn't get a reaction.
Could either of those three at least be on the bench?
Yeah, there's a possibility. They're in the squad, but I'll make a decision on the day in terms of who's actually involved.
And Mark, you mentioned Stephen Allen there. Is the key to managing him trying to get such performances out of him on a regular basis?
Yeah, no, I mean, Stephen is a good player, and everybody knows my thoughts about Stephen and his ability. He's been unlucky, as I've said. He hasn't been too well, in fairness, this week, so he might miss out at the weekend, just because through illness he's been trying to train and play through it, but it's probably doing more harm than good. He may well miss out, but everybody else is likely to be okay.
You mentioned he was in and out of the team with injury, but does he still feature in your plans for the future?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's very much part of our squad. He's quality play. You saw against Wrexham the impact that he can have and the quality that he has. I thought he came on and gave us that creativity that on the day that we lacked, and that's why he's here, to give us that creativity.
Mark, I don't know if you saw the remarks from Keith Hackett this week, but he called for the current referees chief Mike Riley to stand down, claiming that the current set of officials are the worst he has ever seen. They cited 20 major mistakes over the course of the festive period. Do you
Not just the festive period.
do you have sympathy with Keith there? Do you understand his remarks? I mean, obviously you're critical
Yeah,
of that
I mean, there's been a number of high-profile decisions or non-decisions, if that's the right phrase, and for whatever reason, I'm sure at the end of this season and the beginning of the next season, the referees board will come out and tell everybody that they're doing remarkably well and getting all the key decisions. Percentage of key decisions being made correctly is as high as it's ever been. We usually hear that every year, but I think the perception is a little bit different. So I think there's a lot of managers, myself included, being a little bit frustrated by some of the decisions, as you would imagine, and it's right across the board, it seems, this year for whatever reason, and that's a little bit of a concern, I would suggest.
Just one final question from me. The Oldham owner Simon Corney remarked this week that 3 Premier League managers contacted him in their support of signing Ched Owens. Steve Bruce has obviously come out this morning and said he was one of the 3. Can I just politely ask whether you were one of the 2 managers there?
No, I didn't phone him.
Hey, well, folks. Good.